Well, a huge night tomorrow night on the European stage. First of all, just how big a game is this for you personally in your management career?
On a personal level, obviously, I'm really excited, to get the game going tomorrow night. It's my first time at a club level of being involved in European competition, and yeah, we're all really looking forward to it. I think it's a reward for all of the hard work that we've done last season, enabling us to finish fourth in the league, and that's earned us the opportunity to go and play on this stage.
And obviously, you have a very new look team going into the game. You've got 11 new signings. How are things gelling together, and how ready do you feel you are for this game tomorrow night?
Yeah, we always knew it was going to be a really busy summer transfer window, with obviously the turnover of players at the end of last season, and we've been working extremely hard. Not just in the summer break, but clearly in the build up from the turn of the new year. Putting preparations in place and identifying good targets, and there's been a lot of hard work behind the scenes to make sure that we get these deals over the line in time for this game tomorrow night. I'm absolutely delighted with the work that we've done. 11 new faces in the space of 5 weeks. Some really good, exciting signings, I think, for the fans. And once we get everybody up to speed, then I think we'll have a right good team, hopefully.
There's obviously been a lot of memorable European nights at Tannadice in the past. How confident are you feeling that Dundee United can progress this time into the next round of the competition?
Yeah, I mean, look, of course we're very confident in ourselves. I've got a lot of belief in the group. It has gelled together extremely well over the last few weeks. We had a great pre-season trip in the Netherlands, and that 5 or 6 days together, living with each other, day in, day out, it creates a really good bond, and the players get to know each other, and that is why those trips are so worthwhile. So we've had a great pre-season. The players have came back in great shape initially, and then obviously the backroom team have been working really hard on getting the fitness levels to where they need to be at. And tomorrow night, hopefully, we will see all of that hard work coming to fruition in the game, and hopefully we give a good account of ourselves.
And you named Ross Graham as your captain, but at the moment he's, as far as I understand, has an injury issue. Can you bring us up to speed on how he is at the moment and how long he's likely to be out?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, Ross has had a reoccurrence of a hamstring injury over the last kind of 10 months, and it affected him greatly in the second half of the season, and unfortunately a couple of weeks ago we got a repeat of that injury. So he's seen some specialists, and we've had surgery to the hamstring, and hopefully over the next 2 to 3 months he'll make a complete recovery, and we'll be back and available to play for us somewhere around about the end of October. It's a big loss for us as a group, particularly for myself, having made him club captain. It was an easy choice in the end. I think we've got lots of good leaders in the group, but Ross really understands this club. He's came through the academy system. He's a local lad. He knows what the club means to the supporters, and he's able to relay that message to all of the players. And as much as he's not going to be out there with us on the pitch for a considerable period of time, his presence will still be felt within the dressing room, and he'll continue to encourage the players and drive them on to success.
And Will Ferry then will lead the team out tomorrow. How good is he as a deputy to Ross Graham?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's going to be a very proud moment for Will and for his family, obviously, leading Dundee United out in a European tie at Tannadice, and we're expecting a really good crowd. We're all pleasantly surprised by the amount of tickets that have been snapped up by our own supporters, and obviously very grateful to them for that as well. But from Will's perspective, I think it's a great moment for a young player in his career. When you consider where we took Will from, the lower leagues of England, playing at Cheltenham Town. Last season, arguably one of our most outstanding players, was in the running for a number of the Player of the Year awards at the end of the season, and we're hoping that Will can build on a really positive campaign last season and even do better again this season, and hopefully that starts tomorrow in our first competitive game.
How How's your team news otherwise going into the game?
Yeah, we're in good shape. Obviously it's still early in terms of pre-season standards and everything else, and we've had to try and speed up the process during this pre-season to make sure that we're ready for this competitive fixture tomorrow night. But the boys are in a good place. We'll have a really good group to choose from, and hopefully, as I said, we give a good account of ourselves in front of a fantastic home support and give them all something to cheer about.
You've brought 11 in. Are you likely to be bringing anyone else in before the league season kicks off?
Yes, I still think we're a couple light in certain areas, so those conversations are ongoing. But the great thing is, because of the good business that we've done up to now, it's not panic stations for us. We're quite relaxed about the situation. We're speaking to a few very good players at the moment, and we're confident that over the next 2 to 3 weeks we'll have another couple of new faces in with the group. But right now I'm very content with the players that we have at the moment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A diverse group, obviously, of players that you've brought in, and I'm sure very exciting for the fans. What's that like in terms of a team perspective and gelling everyone together and getting that understanding?
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously it's a lot of European players have came into the squad, and I'm pleased to say that all of those players can speak perfect English. Technically all very good players. Our whole strategy this summer was around about trying to reduce the average age of the squad, trying to add a bit more athleticism, a bit more pace to the team, and I think we've managed to do that. And I've had great success in the European market in previous transfer windows. Our head of recruitment, Ross Goodwin, has done a fantastic job this time round in terms of identifying the targets and working off the profiles of the players that I'm looking for, that I gave him, and bringing great options to my table. And then obviously I've got to make those decisions on which ones I think are going to be right to suit the way that we want to play. But I couldn't be any more satisfied with the players that we've brought in. There is no language barrier issue. All these players, when they come in, are well-educated boys, and of course it does take a little bit of time to adapt to the different culture, the different pace of play from some of the leagues that they've came from. But I couldn't be any more pleased than what I am right now in terms of the initial impact that they've had on the group since arriving.
And just how much of a challenge is it for the backroom team at the club to, with the first competitive game being in Europe, to ensure the players that are ready to go for what would be quite a difficult competitive game?
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously, if you're not involved in the European stages, then you're tend to be involved in the League Cup, and a lot of teams use those League Cup games against lower league opposition as potential kind of fitness workouts to get them prepared for the league campaigns. But from our own perspective, we don't have that luxury. This is a massive game for us as a group, for us as a club, for the country as well. I think we all want the Scottish teams to be successful in these European competitions, and with that it brings a little bit of added pressure. But at the same time, my backroom team have done an amazing job. The sports science team, the medical team, the strength and conditioning guys, done a really thorough job in terms of planning and preparing for the pre-season, and it's been probably the hardest pre-season that a number of these players have done during their careers, and we made them aware of the fact at the beginning that it was going to be tough. But I'm delighted with the players' application and their response to what we've put on in terms of the sessions, and I think that will show in the performances that are about to come in the next 10 days.
Just what have you made of Una Strassen so far, and what game are they going to bring to Tannadice tomorrow?
Well, my analyst Aidan deserves a huge amount of credit, because getting footage from the league in Luxembourg certainly hasn't been easy, but he has he's worked diligently. He's reached out to all of his contacts, and he's managed to get us a really good amount of games from last season. Obviously there is the potential for them to make changes through the transfer window, but we're confident that their style of play and the system that they play will be quite similar to what it was last season. It served them well last season, and I don't see a reason for them to change too much. They're a team that's made up of lots of different nationalities, similar to ourselves. They've got a number of Portuguese players within the group, French players. Technically they look a good team. They look a very well coached team as well. There's a real understanding in their patterns of play and how they want to perform in the game. So, people may look at it on paper and think that we'll be, heavy favourites going into it, but we certainly haven't been planning for the game with that mindset. We're expecting a really difficult fixture tomorrow night at Tannadice, and we know it's not going to be easy, but I believe if my players apply themselves properly and have the correct mindset coming into the game, that we can come out on top.
Just having that game at Tannadice to kick the season off with it being a European game, is this the sort of potential to really set you up for a fantastic start to the season?
Well, I think winning games early on is really important. To get that momentum and to get that confidence within the group. We had some really good friendly fixtures over the last few weeks. Very testing games as well. Over in Holland against Volla. The game of the weekend against Oldham was a different type of challenge for the players. I thought it was a great game actually for some of the new signings, just to give them an understanding of what the British game and the Scottish game, will look like at times in terms of the physicality side of things. We kept a really good clean sheet in that game at the weekend. It's always something that we're very strong on in terms of that defensive structure and that setup. So we'll be looking for another clean sheet tomorrow night, and hopefully, being clinical in front of goal, and hopefully our forward players getting off the mark early at this stage of the season would be a real positive.
Just finally from yourself, obviously we talked about your sort of recruitment a little bit earlier. Has that been, mentioned the number of European players that have come in, is that, a market you think sort of particularly suits the sort of system that you like to play, and is that sort of European, styles that they come in, add aspects to that? Yeah, I
mean, look, as I said, at previous clubs I've enjoyed great success in the Eastern European markets in particular. I love working with those types of players. They've got a great mentality, a really good work ethic. They tend not to come here with big egos. They haven't been pampered through the academy system in the countries that they come from. They've always, seemed to have a really good education and a great understanding of the game. So they're good people first and foremost. Really hard-working, honest, and very ambitious as well. They believe they've been given a great opportunity to come and play at a club like Dundee United, and all these players, most of them playing in Europe, they want to come to the UK. And I can see within their performances in training and the performances that we've seen in pre-season how much they're enjoying their time here. And I think gradually as time goes on, our supporters will see why we've opted to go down this route. Of course, financially it helps, because the British transfer market at the moment is extremely inflated. It works for us, and I don't think we could have done any better with the players that we've brought in. And we're looking forward to seeing how these players continue to develop over the next few weeks and months.
Thank you very much.
You mentioned earlier that this is your first venture into Europe as a manager. As this new chapter of your career starts, what are you looking forward to most?
I'm looking forward to the challenge of coaching against different types of teams, and hopefully it will go on for the next few months and not just the next few weeks. We'd love to progress through these qualifying rounds and find ourselves in the group stages and having to cope with the demands of playing European football midweek and domestic football at the weekends. But I think it's always exciting from a manager and a coach's perspective to try and pit your wits against different types of players, different types of clubs, and different coaches with different philosophies and ideas. So it's it's different to the norm in terms of our own Premiership, where you've got a fair idea of what you're going to face with the opposition and the managers and the tactics. But it's exciting. It's where we all want to be in terms of as managers. We want to try and coach at the highest level. No different to the players. You want to try and play at the highest level and get the best out of the ability that you've got, and hopefully on Thursday night we can show that we certainly belong in this league, and hopefully we can, as I say, push on through into the group stages.
You said that getting the footage from Luxembourg was quite an onerous task to come across. Has that created any difficulties for you in your preparation for this game?
No, not at all. I mean, as I said, obviously there is the challenges of trying to get your hands on the footage, because it's we use a certain platform here in Scotland that everybody uploads their games to, and we've all got access to it. Whereas the European teams are maybe a little less kind of inclined to share their footage and their data, and that's well within their rights. But it just means that we have to work harder to try and source it and speaking to different people to get it. And that's why I said, my analyst deserves a huge amount of credit. So the players have had as much information as possible on the opposition. They know exactly the strengths and the weaknesses of Strassen. We've treated this game as we would if we were playing any of the teams in our own domestic league. We've given Strassen the utmost respect, and we are not expecting an easy fixture by any stretch. But we have to take care of business tomorrow night. We've got the advantage of playing at home in the first fixture, and we have to make that count.
You have a massive crowd that's going to turn up there. How important is it then to be patient, to make sure obviously that the game develops obviously as it goes through the 90 minutes?
Well, first and foremost, we want them to come and we want them to generate a really positive atmosphere within the stadium. Make as much noise as possible and really get behind the players, and in particular for the new players, to show them, what a big club they've actually came to, and to show that passion that they always do. Our supporters, since I've been here over the last couple of seasons, have been incredible, not just at home, but obviously, travelling with us on the road in great numbers. And we want them to be as excited about this European run as what we are here within the club. And it's a great experience for everybody. As I said, it's a reward for all the hard work that we put in last season, and the supporters played a huge role in our success last season, and they have got a really important role to play tomorrow night to make sure that they encourage the players, drive them on, and as I said, show the new guys how good a supporter club they're at.
Just a couple from me, please. So there's been a lot of chat about the potential next round opponents you could face. How important is it to avoid complacency going in this tie?
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously we watched the draw yesterday with great excitement, but we haven't been thinking that far ahead. I think it would be really naive of us to start thinking about trips to Austria when we've got a really difficult fixture ahead of us against Strassen. So we've not spoken about that game, to be honest with you. Our main focus is just on the game tomorrow night. Try and give a really good account of ourselves, be positive, be on the front foot, defensively be solid, and play with real speed in the team. If we do that, then we give ourselves a great chance of getting a positive result.
And can you talk a bit about the qualities Will's got as a leader on the pitch in Ross's absence?
Look, Will and Ross, they're great friends off the field. As I said about Ross Graham, his connection with the club, it was the obvious choice for me as captain. But Will Ferry, since he's came to the club, his attitude, his professionalism, everything about him has been exemplary. He leads by example in training, very vocal, very demanding of his teammates. Both really clever boys as well in terms of understanding, the type of message that I'm trying to get across to the players week to week. And you need talkers and organisers and good communicators out there in those leadership roles to ensure that the message on the park is the same. So, Will is really looking forward to it. He's had a fantastic start to his Dundee United career, a great first season. The big thing now for Will is that he builds on that and not standing still, but actually continue to push himself to make himself better. And he can go anywhere he wants as far as I'm concerned if he keeps the head down and keeps working hard.
Well, just first of all, obviously, huge European night for Dundee United tomorrow. Just how big a game is this for you personally?
It's obviously a big game. We're not going to go into it and treat it any different as such, but personally and as a team, it's a big game. It's something I've not experienced before, and a lot of the change room probably haven't either. So it's obviously a big moment, and we want to do it right and make it a day, a memory to remember, not to forget.
How much does it mean to be involved in such an occasion? Because as you say, you've never played in a game in European football before. Yeah,
it's good. It's as soon as probably a year ago, I'd never thought I'd be in this situation and playing in a European game, even though it is a qualifier. It's still a European game. So that's something, like I said, I've never thought I'd be in that position, and I want to make use of it. I want to take the opportunity, hopefully perform as an individual and obviously as a team, and hopefully get through the tie.
There's obviously a lot of new faces here at Dundee United since last season. I think 11 new signings. How is the team coming together, and how ready do you feel you are for this game tomorrow night?
We feel very ready. We've done everything we can in terms of whether it's trying to get some team bonding when we've been away in the Netherlands. We've done plenty of meetings in terms of how we want to play, kind of philosophies, getting to know how each other play on the pitch. Obviously, we have those individual relationships between certain positions, and I think it's come together well. I think you've seen from each pre-season game we've got better and better. You see certain patterns of play coming out, the way we like to press, all that type of all that type of thing. So it's been good. We feel ready. It's been like I said a new group, but we're all kind of gelling, and I think you can see that.
And what are you expecting from Una Strassen tomorrow night?
An organised team. We've watched plenty of clips. We've treated them like a normal league game. We're not gonna add any more emphasis onto anything, any less emphasis on how we're gonna play ourselves. They look really well coached, well organised, and they're obviously in European competitions for a reason. So we're going to take it as serious as we would take any game, and like in any game, if we back ourselves, if we perform, that we can go and take a positive result and get through the tie.
And how important is it for you to get the positive result at Tannadice, and you're backed by a huge support as well to take to Luxembourg next week? Yeah,
it's going to be good walking out to a big crowd. It's going to be a type of atmosphere. Hopefully, it gives goosebumps when you walk out. It obviously helps, and we want to put on a good performance. But at the end of the day, we just want to win. We want to look back and go, oh, how good we were at this, good at that. But at the end of the day, if we get through the tie, we get into the next round of qualifying. That's all that matters, really. So that'll be the main focus.
And United has a strong history in European football. They've had some big occasions at Tannadice in the past. I assume that's something you want to be part of for a long time here at United. Yeah, obviously everyone's made well aware of the history the club has when we come here. It's part of the reason you want to come to such a big historic club. It would be good to repeat nights like that, but yeah, we kind of want to focus on ourselves and getting the job done. It's we're never looking too far ahead, or we're never going to look past someone. We're never going to kind of get carried away with ourselves. We just want to do the job at hand, as boring as that is as an answer. Thank you. So,
Vice captain of Dundee United Football Club. How does that sound to you?
A bit weird, to be honest with you. It's a similar thing I said before. A year ago, I probably wouldn't have told you to shut up. Probably stop winding me up. But it's something that will be a proud moment for me and my family. But again, it's something I want to remember it for the right reasons. It won't mean anywhere near as much if it's we don't have good performances that come with it. It's at the end of the day, you want to remember it for all the right reasons, and I want to look back and be proud and all the positive stuff that comes with it.
From when we spoke first about this time last year when you came into the club, what's that whirlwind been like for you as an individual?
It feels like just yesterday, to be honest with you. It's been we've had all sorts of ups and downs. Last season we had some proper good periods. We had some not so good ones, which we all went through together, and we kind of stuck through together, and it's got us where we are today. Hopefully we reap the rewards from last season and we get through this first round especially. But it's been good. I've enjoyed my football. It's been the best 2 years of my career. Hopefully, coming into this season, it'll be, the years I look back on and say I love that. Hopefully we proper push through this year and have a good year again. We're not taking anything for granted. We want to enjoy our time in the European tournament here, and we want to either get through and progress, but then when it comes to the league, we want to get back into it. At the end of the day, we don't want this to be a one-off and a token gesture like, oh, well, that was good, we were in Europe that season. We want to make that a consistent kind of baseline to get to, especially when it comes to win the league and qualifying for it.
The fans tomorrow, that's your 12th man, it's going to be a fantastic atmosphere. It's looking like it's going to be like that across there as well, so you're going to have a bit of both.
Yeah, it'll be good. I think everyone knows that it makes a massive difference. It is the type of thing where it gets you so pumped up and hyped up that sometimes we almost have to, take a breath and don't get too hyped up where you're getting too much involved in the atmosphere. But honestly, the noise and everything that the fans can do tomorrow will all be appreciated and will hopefully get us over the line. We can't do enough. So yeah, hopefully everyone brings the A game when it comes to shouting and screaming tomorrow.
What are you looking forward to most tomorrow night?
Obviously the game in general, probably that first walkout. I don't know if you play music or what, but when you watch at home these European competitions and you've got the little songs coming out, it's cool, isn't it? So that's kind of the thing that you'd always mess about at the park and you play the Champions League. I know it's a different competition, but you'd play a Champions League anthem as you're like walking onto the local park, pretending you're playing in Europe. So it's that's for me, that's the kind of little gimmick that I'm looking forward to. That kind of if you do play a song, walking out to that and kind of just being proud.
Spoke about the role of vice captain earlier. Just does that almost feel like a sort of, like you said as well, the best kind of 2 years of your career at the moment? Does that feel like a sort of vote of confidence for what you've been doing on and off the park as well?
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of been natural how I've kind of settled in, become a bit more vocal as the year went on, and now obviously it's been a big turnover of players, and Ross especially, obviously, but myself, we've kind of taken on that responsibility where it's kind of been a natural progression where, I know what the fans are like, the expectations, what the gaffer expects, and it's about me helping kind of get that expectation, the standards onto the next group that have come in. So it's been good, and like I said, hopefully this is a 2-year period in my career where I can properly look back and be proud of it.
Just finally, obviously, you spoke a little bit about obviously the game tomorrow, but what's the sort of squad's ambition in European football this season, and where do you think you can go as a club this season?
Just to progress as far as we can. We believe we can get through this round if we perform to our own standards. That's what we're going to focus on, is kind of we're going to give them a respect, and we already have watched plenty of videos and different tactics, but at the end of the day it's about whether we do our own jobs, and without looking past that, we're going to, if we get through, we'll look past the next game. That we're always going to kind of just take the individual ties as it comes, but obviously the standard answer is we want to get as far as possible. We don't want it to be a token, oh well, we have played a few games in Europe and we'll never get that again. It's something that we want to be, get as far through and make it happen again.
Yeah, well, just a couple from me, please. Kind of following on from that, there's been a lot of chat about potential next round opponents here. How important is it for you to avoid complacency going at this time?
Exactly what you just said. It's so easy to take your eye off the ball, and you see it in the cup competitions in Scotland the last few weeks. There's been upsets all over. There's been upsets in this competition in the first round. So none of us are going to do that. I can tell you that for free. It's we're all very focused, and we're going out there with 100% effort, 100% concentration, and we're ready to go basically.
Okay, it's been mentioned already. Obviously, being made vice captain. With a bit of doubt over your captain's fitness for tomorrow, there's a chance you could be leading the team out. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's obviously just going to be a proud moment. It's like I said, that type of walkout, kind of, whether it's 30 seconds, whatever it is, that's going to be something I'm looking forward to. But then, as soon as the game starts, it's the usual role. It's getting through the game, try and lead by example, and try and help everyone else get through the game. Everyone will be performing, looking after themselves, but it's about being a team and getting through the tie together. So that'll be part of my job as well, making sure that we stick together.